Things got out of hand late in 1536, as I may have misjudged the appetite for clarification. The enforcement of the 10 Articles provoked strong opposition in Lincolnshire first, then throughout the northern counties. These uprisings, the Pilgrimages of Grace, gathered momentum. At their height, 40,000 men strong. My nemesis, Thomas Howard, 3rd Duke of Norfolk, was dispatched to quell the rebellion, taking it upon himself to offer the ringleaders a pardon. Despite, rather than in spite of Norfolk's intervention, a further uprising was quashed and those responsible brought to justice, either hanged or beheaded for treason. One of them, Baron Darcy of Darcy, original choice of forename, gave me a warning, saying, "Others that have been in such favour with kings as you now enjoy have come to the same fate you bring to me." I brushed it off at the time. Mayhap I should have taken heed. This same Darcy had previously vied for the hand of my daughter-in-law-to-be. Sore loser mayhap. I continued to enjoy success in church politics, but my grip loosened now that the new Privy Council had been created. This had been necessary to deal with this insurgents in the north. Yet the king, ever vigilant, confirmed his support of me by appointing me to the Order of the Garter in August 1537. August was a good month. The young widowed sister of the Queen, Elizabeth Seymour, the Lady Uhtred, had been left indisposed, with little income in Yorkshire, and had written to me for help in finding a suitable husband. I immediately replied, proposing Gregory. Both parties had been warm to the idea, so it was with some pride that I saw the union blessed. It would do the Cromwell name no harm to be linked so closely to the crown. I was in effect uncle-in-law to His Majesty. October that year, finally the country had an heir. Prince Edward was born. Within the fortnight, however, his mother was dead. The king went into a period of deep mourning for the frail girl who had succeeded where her predecessors had failed. The Privy Council grew in stature during this time, the king having withdrawn from affairs of state. I continued my work in the king's name with a campaign against idolatry, the practice of preying on the poor and uneducated by asking for coin to witness the blood of Christ or such like. Indeed, in one particular case, I was able to prove it was the blood of a duck. I saw to it that one printed copy of the whole Bible would be set up in every church, in English. Those charlatans would no longer muddy things with their smoke and mirrors. It was now 1538, and as the king indulged deeper into the self-pity with too much time on his hands, he became disillusioned by the religious reforms he had once had a great appetite for. My opponents sniffed at this and gained strength. I acted swiftly, gathering them up in the Tower for treason. Someone had to take the initiative to maintain the status quo. Sir Geoffrey Pole gave me the evidence that was to see them all dispatched. I kept the momentum with the reforms, issuing clear and non-negotiable instructions that all parishes must keep accurate and legible records, births, marriages and deaths. This is incidentally why you are able to trace your ancestry. So you have cause to thank me. It was that March I became grandfather to Henry Cromwell. The Lady Mary stood as godmother at his christening. The match had turned out to be a very happy one, for which I was pleased. I'd been blessed with my Elizabeth. Love it isn't a given, as His Majesty knew only too well. Once found, it is to be cherished as a precious gift. Meanwhile, the printing of Miles Coverdale's Bible was underway in Paris. However, France was in the middle of a Catholic Inquisition. According to Rome, the Bible must be in Latin. They would deal harshly with anyone involved in printing any other version. Production was stopped by order of the Inquisitor General of France. I used my powers of persuasion on King Francois, who allowed me to collect the unfinished works, bringing them back to England. In fact, not just the already printed pages, but the presses, the typefaces, even the printers themselves. You remember, I had a reputation for being the man to get the job done. April 1539, and the first editions were in circulation. The good word would now be available to all. All this work had originated at the king's behest, yet he became more resistant to further Reformation measures. He had no such revulsion when the money was overflowing the royal coffers. He had employed a spare no expense attitude when I oversaw the refitting of his beloved flagship, the Mary Rose. So I found this obstacle frustrating. Norfolk, sensing the opportunity, presented 6 questions to the House. These were duly adopted as the Act of 6 Articles, a retrograde step which reaffirmed the old view of the Mass, the sacraments and the priesthood. Whether Norfolk truly believed this good for the country or whether he was simply making mischief, I would never know. But I could feel my influence over His Majesty loosening.